Kansas City deaths. There have been 2 arrests. Children who died in a van in Detroit in a casino parking garage. Their deaths have been ruled carbon monoxide poisoning and not freezing to death. And also Kelli Bryant from Pontiac, Michigan. She's going to court again this week. I will play you content from the court hearing, and I believe tomorrow she also has a status hearing pertaining to her bond. Welcome to the Vault XL. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign the Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. All right. Well, the client was charged. 1 year later, a little over a year later. So we have a black man and a white man. Black man is what would be considered the dope man. He's supplied the drugs for payment from their friend. And he took the drugs, the friend, to the other guys. And then they later died at some point during the night outside. Don't know if they were out smoking a cigarette or having a drink, shooting the shit, talking, don't know, wasn't there. But this is as they said, a cautionary tale of why you shouldn't use drugs, period. Don't matter where they come from. It don't matter. Over the counter, you have to be careful taking anything that does not belong to you, does not have your name on it, even if it is prescribed to you by a physician, medical provider. There are always side effects. But when you're speaking of street drugs such as heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, crack, whatever, you should know there's a risk, but people don't care. And that's the one thing I think nobody wants to accept in certain storylines, such as this one, when everybody was all over the place last year. What happened to these men is that the fact these men willingly took drugs. You see, one, somebody has to attest that, yes, I know that this one used drugs regularly or was an addict. 2, accept the fact. Then there's denial. No, I don't believe my friend, my cousin, my brother would do that. So everything's about perception, okay? So even last year, I was, on the fence about much of the story because I didn't really know what the hell was going on. You got the mad scientist here. People felt like perhaps he doctored up some drugs, gave it to them. But then you'd have to ask yourself, okay, how would the people get the drugs in their system? And even if you're talking about using marijuana, that is still a drug. So even if you laced it with these drugs, crushed it up, that means he would have to done all the work himself, crushing up the drugs, rolling it with the weed, rolling different blunts or rolling papers, let's just say, and they had no idea. You still would smell fentanyl. Come on. I'm not a fentanyl user, not a drug user, but I'm not a dodo bird either. I know that each drug has his or her own smell. So there's no way you could be smoking weed and let's say fentanyl's wrapped in it in the rolling papers or the blunt papers and you don't know, hey, something's wrong with this weed. This smells funky. It ought to smell and taste funky if you get my drift. So I believe all men were users. Now, you can argue until you're blue in the face about who used, how long, first time user. In the end, they are dead. They are dead. So as I said, it would be somebody would have to come and say, this one started on Thursday. This one been doing it for 5 months. This one was in recovery. This one jumped back on. In the end, the men are no longer here. That's the point. And I think we know possibly they were not forced any drugs. They were either users or recreational users or addicts, however you'd like to word it. But they were willing participants. Okay? Like I said, had nobody heard that this guy has, degrees in science and different things, people ran with it thinking he force-fed these people drugs or did something to them deliberately, but you'd have to prove it. I always said that last year. You have to prove this man deliberately did something to these people. You got to prove how he did it. Well, obviously, this guy, his fingerprints are on the bag, the fentanyl bag that he sold to their friend. I think it's interesting it took a year to get that down because most guys, women who sell drugs, it surely don't take a long time to arrest them. I'm just saying. Whether somebody was an undercover or somebody told, yeah, I got the drugs from such and such. Next thing you know, there's an investigation and the person's arrested. Usually don't take a whole year unless it's some type of conspiracy. The government has decided to, say, hey, we believe this person's a known drug dealer, blah, blah, blah. They want to investigate so they can get more charges on the person. Either way, these men are no longer here. Now, as I said, there are going to be people who are going to ask. Active users, first-time users, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm definitely not here to argue the status quo of the men. But as you see, their friend, he's a goner. So let's ask this question. Sir, when you went into that little halfway house business last year, did you do it because you had a feeling you might get arrested? You played crazy, played possum. You laid around your house for 2 days as if you didn't know your friends were out there in the yard, frozen and dead, drug overdose. Did he know that his friends were back there, number one? Or was he inebriated himself from using the drugs? And then people question that, of course, because he was alive. They were dead. Okay? Why is he walking around? So that's why a lot of people had conspiracies thinking, he did something to these guys deliberately because he was still standing and they're laid out. And of course, that's a normal reaction to have. Like, okay, why are these guys dead? You're walking around. But somebody might say, he has a high tolerance, or he didn't take it the batch they had. I don't know. I just know karma came home. The mad scientist, doctor, friend, he also is taking the charge. He gave the drugs to his friends, and now he has been arrested. And the dope dealer, well, he's been arrested as well. That's the latest, everybody. I'm sure the family members are elated with this new development, these 2 arrests. So hopefully they can get some peace of mind pertaining to the deaths of their loved ones. It was a very bizarre story. Many people were on YouTube, TikTok, I'm sure all over social media, with their hypotheses and theories of what they thought happened, with the guys. And like I said, I think the fact that the friend here who has, degrees in science and different things, people's minds start wandering and just assuming that he did something deliberately to them. But like I said, you have to use deduction and use common sense when it comes to drugs, whether you've ever used drugs or not. Usually when people overdose, it's because they willingly took a drug. We're not talking about cyanide poisoning or somebody put some, rat poison in somebody's iced tea. This is not your, case of, what is that? What you use for your car. You all know what I'm saying. Antifreeze in the iced tea. It wasn't that type of party. Just some guys who obviously used drugs, got high. And in the end, people don't want to admit that about their family members or friends, that they are users. And I think that these guys were avid or recreational or addicts. Take your pick. I don't know. I'm not here to say. But obviously, somebody had been buying dope, and it's probably going to come out during trial. This black man has been supplying this white guy drugs for some time, periodically, and I'm sure he'll tell that. Well, I give him drugs, haven't had any problems before. Had dope, he's got to defend himself too. The friend, he's going to try to defend himself. I didn't know the dope was bad. I've been getting it. Look at me, I'm alive. I guess they got a bad part of it. I don't know what either one's defense is going to be, but it should be interesting because, by law, you have the right to representation for a said crime. You are innocent until proven guilty. So I'm sure both of them are going to try to pull every cat out of a hat, whatever they can come up with to try to get themselves out of this situation that they have found themselves in. This comes about. Either one pointing the finger. And some will say, hey, Why should they go down? It's a choice to get high on drugs. You're entitled to your opinion. I wasn't going to say all this, but I went ahead and said it anyway because get it over with. Some people say, you choose to drink, your choice. You like to get funky, sloppy, drunk, act a fool, ramifications. You want to get high on fentanyl, crack, weed, you know the ramifications. It's your choice. Some people believe drugs should be legal. Some people believe weed should be legal, but we've seen people can't really function on marijuana. Let's keep it real. Let's just keep it real. Most people can't really function on marijuana. I think we know this. Just can't. What will their defense be? Not my fault. I didn't know the dope was bad. I didn't know the dope was bad either. Many. Oh, mercy. That's the latest developments, everybody, pertaining to the that's tongue-tied. KC deaths. 3 friends found in the backyard. Guy on the right. Now, what has this fella been doing all this time? I'm wondering. A little over a year later. How long was he in that facility where he checked himself in? I think he just went there to hide out, quite frankly. But, sir, what have you been doing all this time? Trying to figure out a defense for yourself? Wondering to get arrested? Listening to your stupid lawyer? You all better stop listening to them lawyers because obviously they don't know everything. Your lawyer is a dodo bird because he lied to you. Oh, you're not going to get arrested. Just keep doing what you've been doing. Well, he did get arrested. There you have it. There you have it. Now we're going to go to some more crazy nonsense, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault Cell. I've got 2 more topics I want to discuss besides this Kansas City nonsense. Lord Jesus, it's a hot butter mess. Please go to my community page for said updates and breaking news. Take the polls. Helps us keep an eye on you guys on how you all think out there. So take the polls. New information pertaining to Mr. Kohlberger. Judge has decided to tell these guys, ladies, to knock it off. He's tired of the secrecy. Everybody being so secretive. So, Your Honor, who are you addressing that to? The defense for Mr. Kohlberger. Also, guilty verdict in the Swan Boat Club crash where the lady crashed into an event where some people were unalive. They got a guilty verdict on that. She's guilty. Okay. Crazy case out of Florida. Oh, not touching that one. That one's just disgusting. Man, the things he did to those boy children is just abhorrent. He needs to have his, as this one guy said, he needs to have his self set on fire. Fire, literally. All right, we're going to go to Pontiac, Michigan and hear this nonsense pertaining to this bobblehead who abandoned 3 of her children inside of a condo. She went to court. We're going to hear the latest, everybody. This is part 2.
This is Kelli Marie Bryant, case number 250216F1.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Tanika Bryant on behalf of the people.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. Cecilia Karen Gamba here on behalf and with Kelli Bryant. Your Honor, she's present from the Oakland County Jail via Zoom. We have no objection to Zoom.
Ms. Bryant, can you state your name for the record, please?
Kelli Bryant.
Okay. Is that Ms. Bryant's hand in front of her face? Right?
Okay,
thank you. This is the time and date set for a probable cause conference on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse. Ms. Karen Gamba, how did you want to proceed?
Your Honor, I've had extensive conversations with Ms. Bryant as well as with Ms. Parency. At this time, I'm in receipt of, I want to call it partial discovery. I have the written initial police report, which is, there's apparently a supplement that will be available for me today. And also I have the children's interviews, I was provided with those yesterday. I don't have anything else. There are terabytes of electronic discovery that is going to be provided to me on the external hard drive that I provided to the prosecutor's office. So we're asking you to adjourn the probable cause conference so we can have all the discovery. I think it's paramount in this case, Your Honor.
All right. And you discussed the 21 days with Ms. Bryant.
I did, Your Honor. She understands that she has the right to have her preliminary examination within 21 days. It's impossible in this case. If we're going to provide her with effective assistance of counsel, and I think she understands and appreciates that. Our next court date would be set outside of that. She's not waiving her right to the preliminary examination, just to have it, I guess, at this time within the next week. And she's in agreement, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I will note that the 21 days is waived, not the right to the exam, but the right to have it within 21 days. I understand that there are still discovery issues pending. Before we get to the date, the defense did file a couple of motions, and I will deal with those this afternoon as well. One was a motion to restrain pretrial publicity. I did receive and review the motion as well as the briefs. Any comment from either side as to that?
Your Honor, just ever so briefly in response to some of the things that the people were putting in their response or their there's a lot of information that's already public information, meaning the court proceedings are open to anyone, certainly to the media. There's the register of actions that are public. There's a lot of public information. There's also already a lot of information that's been disseminated via social media and the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. The issue I'm having is that the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office disseminated information that really is confidential information that they had me sign a protective order for before I could receive it, which included the children's interview. They also requested initially that I sign an agreement to not disseminate anything of discovery nature to anyone, including my client. And I declined to sign that. But so they've asked me basically to not talk about this case or share it with anyone. But at the same time, I'm saying that this is in the public interest. I don't think it's in the public interest to disseminate evidence that has been admitted into court. And I don't think it's in the children's interest to disseminate any of that. The public can certainly be kept informed via the media. As well as, what the public can look up on the public register of actions in court. So I don't see any public interest in the prosecutor's office continuing to hold press conferences and talk about this case. And, included in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, which, many of those deputies and detectives are assigned to this case. They're witnesses in this case. And the Oakland County Sheriff's Office continue to talk to the public about this case. I was especially disturbed by the fact that what looks to be a body cam from one of the deputies that were in the home has been disseminated all over social media before we've even had any kind of court proceeding. So I do think it's a proper motion. I'm asking that you.
Well, let me say this. I have yet to see this body cam footage, ma'am. I didn't go looking for it, and I didn't hear anything about it. I haven't heard anyone in the chat talking about this body cam footage that you're speaking of. They're wrangling on and on right now, this defense attorney, about dissemination of information and what people are hearing and seeing. And hey, they got the right to go look it up because it's public information, but hey, I don't need the district attorney talking about it and blah, blah, blah. Well, everybody knows the district attorney is going to reveal certain things when a person is arrested for said charges. That is just the way it is. But that's what the wrangling is right here in this court pertaining to Ms. Kelli Bryant. Information being released to the public by the district attorney's office and her, I guess, getting certain information, not getting it revealed to her, I guess, in a timely fashion. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lady, you better wake up. People saw the pictures. Yes, the district attorney showed us the pictures of the apartment, a few pictures of the apartment. What she showed, I'm sure, is in no by no means the bigger picture. We're talking about probably a 3-bedroom condo, 2 levels. So those few little pictures, I'm sure it's nothing compared to an actual video of law enforcement walking through. I'm sure the owner took video of the said condo. And if you're crying now, you're really going to be weeping alongside Miss Kelli, handcuffed, talking through a monitor like a little 5-year-old. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all better get it together. Because come trial, what we saw ain't going to be SHIT compared to what 12 members of a jury, what they're going to see. They're going to see the whole shebang. They're going to see from the moment the door opened until the door shut. Okay? They're going to see footage of the cleanup people who came, who were throwing the black bags into the trash compactor, garbage truck, the black lady who was hired to clean, who said she didn't make a whole lot of money. She going to be up there testifying too. Hello. Her and her uncle. So you better get it together, lady. Let's stop this damn whining.
All right, Ms. Ferenczi?
Thank you, Your Honor. I do just want to respond briefly to both Ms. Karen Donovan's statements today and also her motion. I do want to be clear. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen Donald held one press conference on February 19, 2025, after Ms. Bryant was formally charged. In that press conference, Prosecutor McDonald combined her statements to the already public information from the swear to that morning. Prosecutor McDonald has not made any public statements about this case that has any potential to deny Ms. Bryant her constitutional rights. The statement about the video, I am not aware of what video Ms. Donald is speaking of. From my understanding,
Exactly.
We live in a social media era right now, and information and misinformation spreads very quickly. We did get reports that individuals in our community, not part of law enforcement, made unauthorized entry of the residents at issue in this case, and did record videos, take photographs, and posted their findings on social media that did have high views. And Your Honor, that vigilante activity does create a dangerous precedent and the potential of widespread distribution of misinformation. And Your Honor, I do believe that a gag order would prevent the prosecutor the ability to correct any sort of misinformation. This case has drawn a lot of public outcry, and a lot of that public outcry predated law enforcement's presentation of this case to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office requesting charges. And the reason of that outcry is because the welfare of our community's children is a vital social movement. And the facts of this case rarely involve allegations of egregious harm to children. And Prosecutor McDonald has a duty to comply with the Michigan Rules of Professional Conduct. MRPC 3.6 and 3.8 expressly recognize that the public has an interest in and a right to know about cases as such. The prosecutor was acting within her authority and in good faith in making already public statements during the February 19th press conference. The issues that Ms. Karen Donald brings up about this misinformation is the sole reason why it is important for the prosecutor's office to be able to check the misinformation and provide accurate information of what is happening in this case. The public has a right to be precisely and accurately informed about its vital social interests in the systems that are responsible for keeping our children safe, Your Honor. And I respectfully request on behalf of the victims and the citizens of Oakland County that the court deny the defendant's motion, Your Honor. Thank you.
As I indicated, I did review both the motion and the briefs that were attached. And the court did review MCR 8.116D1 to evaluate whether a restriction on information or a gag order prohibiting discussion of the case with the media, whether that would be appropriate. And as you're all aware, the Michigan Court of Appeals has indicated that an overbroad or vague gag order constitutes a prior restraint on freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press. So this court would have to determine that the interest to be protected outweighs the right of access. Denial of access would have to be narrowly tailored to accommodate the interest to be protected, listing the specific reasons for limiting access. The initial charges against the defendant have already been presented. The prosecutor has held a press conference, which was prior to the date of the arraignment. We are now at the probable cause stage, so it would appear that there should be no further need for such similar press conferences during the pendency of the case. A gag order, in this court's opinion, would be inconsistent with law and the public interest. The Michigan rules of professional conduct do provide guidance in this area, and those rules do permit a prosecutor to make statements that are necessary to inform the public of the nature and extent of the prosecutor's action and that serve a legitimate law enforcement purpose. The February 19th press conference that was referenced in the motion and the response prior to the arraignment, which was February 20th. Now, massive, pervasive, and prejudicial publicity has been ruled in cases to interfere with an individual's right to a fair trial, but the mere existence of pretrial publicity does not automatically deprive the defendant or the prosecution of a fair trial. There are court rules and jury instructions that can provide protection in these areas. So while this court will not be imposing a gag order, I'm simply instructing the parties to comply with Michigan rules of professional conduct and court rules during the pendency of this case. But should there come a point, while this case is within the jurisdiction of the district court, where there's a massive, pervasive, and prejudicial round of publicity, this court will review the issue and make the appropriate determination at that time.
Per Michigan law. So, defense lawyer, you know Michigan law. You practice law there. Come on now. What do you want to say when it's time to go to trial? I know where this is going. We can't have no trial in Pontiac. We gotta go outside, get a impartial jury. Is that what you're gonna say next? When we look up a year from now, God forbid, hope it don't take another year. Trial on and popping when it's bathing suit time, because we need to get this trial underway. You're gonna tell the judge, well, Judge, I don't think we can find 12 members of a jury that will judge her fairly. And then one would say, fair? Oh, who gives a fuck about fairness when it comes to what she's been accused of? Are you serious? So this is the type of case where it's all in black and white. Ain't no gray area. Gray area is only for somebody who thinks like Miss Kelli Bryant. Okay, let me make that clear. Gray is only for those who are like her. So that's the only gray area you're going to get with this case. This is one of those cases that is so cut dry. There is no in between. That's the joy. This isn't a murder case. This isn't you're looking for a smoking gun, a smoking knife. We got 3 living witnesses. We've got a whole apartment that was filled with SHIT. Okay? Body cam. There's going to be videos. There's going to be eyewitnesses who had to go in and clean that mess up. There'll be no room for error. As I said, there'll be some people out here rallying for her, saying she's mental, she had a horrible childhood. Nobody's going to care about that. And I'm sure this defense attorney here in the bottom corner, she's going to pull out all the stops. She was abused, sexually assaulted, beat up, poor parenting. Maybe she used drugs. Maybe she prostituted. She's going to pull all the stops out to tell us why this woman went down into the abyss and left her kids to rot in a Pontiac, Michigan condo in their own fecal matter. But as I said, this is a cut, dry case. This ain't no theatrics. This ain't no, well, I was wondering if, It's cut dry. And for those out there that want to make excuses for the behavior of Miss Bryant, Miss Coochie Mama here. Oh, where's the lace front wigs? Where's the eyelashes and the lip gloss and the jumping in front of the camera? Oh, they can't let you do that in jail. You have to take that wig off. That wig you took, that wig you had on in your mugshot. Oops, where's it at? Got your little plaits, as black folks call them, plaits, little braids. Somebody in jail braided your little dusty ass hair. Queen don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that. This is a cut, dry case. So, defense attorney, you're whining and crying now about what you're not getting and gag orders and what the prosecutor had to say. When has she given another press conference? I haven't seen any. You go on the YouTube queue. I didn't see anything come up since 2 weeks ago. What are you crying about? See, I already see where this is going. I know what you're getting ready to do. You're getting ready to go in court and start falling out and flapping around like a damn wet seal. And we can't get a fair jury. We got to go outside of Pontiac. No, ain't nobody needing to go outside of Pontiac, because I know that's what's gonna be coming up next. You're gonna want to go outside of Pontiac, Michigan, for a jury panel. No, ma'am. No. Nothing wrong with the folks of Pontiac, Michigan. Because that's the next little slickery I know you got up your sleeve. You're going to say, I don't know if we can find anybody that'll be impartial. No, you shouldn't find anybody crazy enough to agree with this bat. She abused her kids, left them to starve to death. No washing powder, no soap, no visits to a hair salon, no visits to get their hair cut, no outside interaction with human civilization, okay? This is BS. BS. So stop this nonsense.
Present, defendant's motion to restrain pretrial publicity is denied. Now, the defendant has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse, which carries a maximum penalty of life. The defendant is still, however, presumed innocent until proven guilty, and that brings us to defendant's next motion, which was a motion for reasonable bond. I did, for the record, have a brief bench conference with both attorneys as to that motion. And the court is willing to do an evaluation of appropriate pretrial release conditions. The things that the court has to consider is the defendant's record, if any record of appearance or non-appearance or flight to avoid prosecution, any history of substance abuse or addiction, the defendant's mental condition, including character and reputation for being dangerous, the seriousness of the offense charged and the probability of conviction and likely sentence, any employment history, status, financial history as they relate to the ability to post bail, the availability of a responsible member or members of the community who would vouch for and monitor the defendant if released, ties to the community, including family ties and relationships, and the length of residence, and any other facts bearing on the appearance or danger to the public. So the standard at this point is not abuse of discretion, but the court is willing to review the issues related to pretrial release in detail. We would not be able to do that today because of the other cases that are scheduled. However, if both parties are available, I am willing to do that on Friday so we don't have an unnecessary delay. I do understand that we will have to adjourn the probable cause.
Okay, so this took place earlier in the week, okay, because today's Thursday. So, Judge, I like your style. You're very mild-mannered, but what is there to discuss? She doesn't deserve pretrial release because it was already released earlier, 2 weeks ago. You all don't even have, you didn't even really know where she was living at the time. The children were abandoned for years, 4 years or so inside of this condo. Very nice condo, very nice area. Okay, everybody? But in the end, we already know that it's just aesthetics inside of this condo at 660 Lydia Lane. Excuse me, Pontiac, Michigan was hell on earth. That unit. Hell on earth. So now here we are listening to this nonsense about pretrial release. Hell no. Bond? Hell no. She don't get a bond. What bond can you give her when you already have it at $250 million? So, defense attorney down here, little crybaby lady, what bond do you think would be appropriate for your client? Please help me out. What bond amount do you think would be appropriate for this little black buzzard here? Okay? Yeah, she's a little black buzzard. This little bald-headed ass buzzard. What bond would be proficient? Because where can you take 250 million down to? 100 million? 50 million? Just say 20 million. 1 million. No matter what number they lower the bond, ma'am, she ain't got the money. And who the hell is getting ready to pull up anything for her? Okay? Now, we have seen crazy stuff, of course. But where can you drop the amount from 250 million? Help me understand. So what you're going to say to the judge to come tomorrow, if tomorrow is the day that they go into court to wrangle about the bond, you're going to say, well, I know there's not a proficient amount that you could drop it down to from 250 million. So can you just let her go on pretrial release? She'll give you all an adequate place to live. How can she give an adequate place to live? You don't even know if she can go back and stay with those people that she was staying. They don't want the scrutiny of having her back there at their house. I don't think. I would hope not. They now know the truth if they didn't. So let's just say hypothetically they didn't know how she was living a lie, had those kids in that dungeon. So let's say nobody knew. Well, they know now. So what address is she going to give if, let's say, these two can come into an agreement about pretrial release, okay? Let's just say they both come into agreement. For some sick reason, the district attorney's office say, yeah, okay, go ahead and let her go. Go where exactly? Where's she going? She don't got a job. She don't work. Don't think she has a car. So whose house is she getting ready to go live in? I'll wait. Because that was the one thing people were questioning when this story broke. Where is she living? Where is she living? And how is she paying the rent up until October 2024? That's so baffling to many people. Even now, it's still baffling because you're trying to figure out, why would you be paying rent on a condo that you don't live in? 2, where are you getting the money from? 3, why are you paying money on a condo and don't stay there with your damn kids? Why are you abandoning your children? Because you know what? As I said to you all before, she had been living like that in that condo and probably other places as well. Stay woke, everybody. She's the filthy beast, teaching her children to be filthy beasts. And she realized it was out of control when she was there living with them. That's why she left them there. Oh, it's just like what a bug man told me many years ago about roaches. Listen to me carefully. The bug man said to me, he said, let me explain something to you, Miss Lady, about roaches. He said, a roach and his friends can be in the midst of the filth for only so long, okay? Only so long. But at some point, the roach and the roaches want to go somewhere where it's clean. Everyone following me? The roach and the roaches want to go somewhere clean. So while they're scurrying around in the mess, eventually the roaches say, fuck this. I need to go somewhere else where I can breathe. Let me find a new place. That's why roaches travel. And then they end up going into other apartments, let's say, where they can pull off their coat and their shoes and get comfortable over there. So This roach here got tired of being in her own infestation, and she left behind her 3 biological children to nest in what I believe she had built with her 3 children. That's what I think. I think she's always been a dirty bird, dirty beast, and she became tired of leave my 3 children behind so I can go breathe, do what I want to do, jump on social media, drop it like it's hot, wearing my coochie cutter outfits and my boobs hanging out and my lace front wigs, trying to look cute at somebody else's house. And I'm going to leave my kids behind in the filth. This is a dirty road here. I believe she's always been nasty and dirty, and she left her kids behind because she got tired of living in her own damn filth. That's what I think.
It's complex. Will this Friday at noon work for both parties?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
That will be on at noon, and that will be the motion for a reasonable bond, where the court will review it and make specific findings as to that. In the meantime, I've noted the 21 days is waived. We'll set the adjourned probable cause.
Yes, very sad,
conference
Nate.
to Tuesday, April 15th. That will be at 2 p.m. For today's purposes, bond will be continued, but I will address it on Friday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, anything else
All right, hold on.
for the record on this case today?
Your Honor, will the motion carry?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It will be via Zoom, yes.
Thank you.
All right, so I believe it's tomorrow. They're going to do some more wrangling pertaining to this dirty bird, Kelli Bryant. Left behind 3 children in a squalid condo, 660 Lydia Lane. Feel free to Google it. Very nice neighborhood, single living homes with garages. At the back of the building, you have your own personal garage where you can park your vehicle. Garbage cans sit right outside each private garage. She was living in a personally owned apartment by somebody else that rented to her, and they had not registered that apartment with the city of Pontiac, Michigan, which is a violation. And it slipped through the cracks, and so did her 3 children. So now the cat is out of the bag. The city of Pontiac knows that this place was a rental unit, and they also know that a woman, a Black female, left her kids behind to die in squalor. No bath, no visits, no outside connections. And what is so baffling about the story, besides the dirty deed, is that the children didn't even think to go outside that damn door, which leads us to believe she threatened her children. You better not ever go outside. And they listened to her. She also gave them cell phones, which is also weird, because if I don't want people to know my dirty secret, why am I going to give each kid a phone? So see, this is what we talk about all the time on this network, mind control. How weak the mind can be for foolishness. In this day and era, children are wayward. Let's keep it real. A lot of children do not mind. They don't listen to their parents, the guardians. So you explain to me how she talked 3 children into not calling 911, not going outside for help, not knocking on the door for help, not going outside the door, period, just to feel fresh air, smell fresh air. Help me understand. So then we also have to say, imagine all the other children who are living the same in the United States as we got this case out of Florida. Black man beating this woman's child. She allowing him to beat the child, torture both of her children. One of the children is currently not awake in a hospital down in Florida. So you got to ask the same question with that case. Nobody saw the signs that the child's being beat up, the children being beat up. They got to go to school. Wounds, healing over old wounds. Make it make sense. Also, the child was sexually assaulted by, I'm assuming, the man. See, this is going on every day. It's just a matter of us waiting to see the next story. That's what's so jacked up. So just like this heifer is sitting in jail on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse, she is facing life in prison and she has a $250 million bond. Tomorrow they will wrangle about the bond and pretrial release. Will the district attorney agree that she should be free up until trial? I say no, because that defeats the purpose of the $250 million bond. Will they wrangle with the bond amount with the defense attorney? They shouldn't, because she's a flight risk. Because let me tell you something about freedom. It is precious, even to the worst of man or woman, a crook, a child molester, a rapist, human trafficker, dope dealer, whoever. Anybody that catches a damn charge. Anybody doing damn wrong. Immigrant. Once you get a taste of freedom, you do not want to go back in. I don't give a damn if you was in jail one damn day. She don't want to go back in there. So you let her out, you will probably be looking for her. If that means she got to ride on a railroad train from here to there, she don't care. Because somebody's got to take her in. She don't work, she don't got no job. Where's she going to stay? It's still winter in Michigan. So where's she going to stay? So I wouldn't release her nowhere. Because when you release somebody for pretrial release, they have to have a viable address somewhere to stay. She don't have anywhere to stay. And I don't care if she hasn't, she don't have another a previous criminal record in her past. These charges are too severe to let her just roll out into the night and wonder if she's going to show up to court. I wouldn't take that risk. And she isn't deserving. Kelli, Bryant, you aren't deserving of freedom. You're facing life in prison, and you deserve every damn day in there. Basically, you deserve the firing squad is what you deserve. Make it hurt. As some people have been saying, it is time for people to get what they have been giving others. So you go out here and commit a heinous crime against human beings, you should get back what you gave your victim. Because how fair is it for her to sit up in jail? She still is free to roam inside of a cage. She gets to eat. People can still, put money on the books, come visit her. She still can chit chat with her inmates until trial. That's more than what you gave your kids. And they naturally, somebody can say, well, they could have left the condo queen, but they didn't. They're children. So whatever she said to them, they believed her. Kelli Bryant facing life in prison for abusing her children. Rightfully so. She deserves every damn day. All right, everybody, going on down my community page, I brought you conversations pertaining to Kansas City, 2 arrests, and the deaths of the Kansas City friends who died last year. 3 men found dead outside of a home, frozen to death. There have been 2 arrests. One of their friends has been arrested, and the dope man who supplied them the drugs. Very interesting situation. Those are the 2 men. The white guy is their friend, and the black guy is the guy who supplied the fentanyl. His fingerprints were on the bag, so that's how this arrest came about. Okay. Here comes the other hot topic of the hour. Information has just come in pertaining to the deaths of the children that found in the van in Detroit, Michigan, 30 minutes away from Pontiac, if I'm not mistaken. Let's hear that latest information. This is my 3rd topic of the hour, everybody. Wow, wow, wow. This is some hot SHIT too. There's a lot of abuse going on. Michigan, Florida, and everywhere in between.
Now, with a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news is coming from the Wayne County Medical Examiner. Live pictures right now from Hollywood Casino in Greektown. We've now learned the 2-year-old and 9-year-old who died in a car in that casino parking structure did not freeze to death. Just in the past hour, the medical examiner saying those children died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Let's go live to Jacqueline Francis with the latest on this. It's a huge departure from what police initially thought happened to these kids, right, Jacqueline?
Ty and Kimberly, it really is, because initially investigators thought that the kids froze to death. And while yes, it was cold, the temperatures were in the teens and they did not have proper shelter, we now know that the cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning. The medical examiner also noting in the report that the manner of death was an accident. The two children who died were 2-year-old Amila Curry and her 9-year-old brother Darnell. The family was living out of their car inside a Greektown parking garage when at some point the car battery died. Shortly after, the mom noticed her son was not breathing and took him to the hospital. Both kids died at the hospital, and we now know it was from carbon monoxide poisoning. So how did the carbon monoxide only affect some of the kids in the car and not others? And how did it happen in an open air parking garage? Those are the questions we are taking to medical experts tonight, and we're going to have those answers for you tonight at 11. Live from Greektown, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Okay, so sorry about that. This is I don't. So we'll go back to that. Hold on, you guys. Was the car running? This is what I'm trying to figure out. For the carbon monoxide, because there was a lot of people inside. At least 7 people were in the van. So this is where this is some crazy nonsense. This is a hotel. They have a parking garage. The children died inside of this van. So I'm trying to understand. There's another video I wanted to play where a nurse describes what happens with carbon monoxide poisoning. Hold on. This is people were wondering if indeed they were in there gambling in the casino. Hold on. Going through my history, everybody. Well, I can't find the video. Dang. Sorry about this, everybody. I'm trying to find a video that I saw earlier. New to you. Let's see. One point they said the car had ran out of gas. The van had ran out of gas. At what point did it run out of gas? Because I'm confused. When did it run out of gas? I don't know why it's not showing me my history. Hold on, everybody. Something's not right. Detroit children die in van. Hold on, everybody. Sorry it's taking me so long. Detroit children die from carbon monoxide in van. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm trying to understand. Hold on a minute, everybody. What? Where were the mother and the grandmother? That's what I'm trying to understand. Where were they? It's already played that one. Hold on. Let's play this one. I can't find the video. Shoot. Sorry about this. Did they leave the kids in the van? That's what I'm trying to figure out. For them to get carbon monoxide poisoning. Did they leave the kids in the van while they went in and gambled? Why? Because you got to, when you're talking about carbon monoxide laying on the floor, the windows being up, down, it's settling on the floor from what this nurse said. You got to ask yourself, why did those two die? See, that's where this is a problem. So did she let the seat down in the back? How's everybody in there comfortable? Because she had a total of what? 3 kids, okay? 2 are dead. Okay, so she had a total of 3 kids. Herself would be 4, her mother 5, and then her mother's 2 children 7. So if you laid down, let's see, the back seat, if it was able to lie down flat, I'm just trying to understand how in the hell this happened. This is strange to me. I don't understand.
Casino, a family was sleeping in their van and 2 kids died. Initially, investigators told us that the children died from hypothermia, but today the medical examiner is saying that the official cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning. Our Terrell Bailey is downtown with how we got to this point, a very troubling case, Terrell.
Yeah, hey there, good evening, Terrence. This case has been far beyond the Metro Detroit area. So many people overall reacting to it. Now, today's update overall sheds a bit more light into the cause of death for brother and sister Mila and Darnell Curry. Police telling us the family had overall been living in a minivan inside of the Hollywood Casino parking lot for several months. Now, 3 other children were also inside of that van along with the children's mother. I actually spoke to a toxicology expert. He told me, granted, there were multiple people in that minivan. It's possible the carbon monoxide reached the 2 kids before anyone else.
Where exactly were the kids positioned? Were they in the back of the van? Did they have vents on in the front so that maybe they were getting better air in the front but not in the back? They're going to have to reconstruct that to see once why 2 kids in the vehicle died from carbon monoxide where the rest of the family didn't. Now,
Detroit police told me today, though the cause of death has been determined as carbon monoxide poisoning, they are still investigating the facts and circumstances of this case. They also told me they plan on submitting those findings to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. Terrence, I also talked to a former prosecutor who told me overall, more still does need to be looked into.
You need 2 things for a crime to occur. You need an act, of course, a death in this case, and you need intent, and that's what's lacking here. Seems like the mother tried to do everything within her power and reason to try and get help and assistance for her kids. They lived in the van for 2 to 3 months. during which time she reached out to various entities within the municipality, was rebuffed on each and every occasion, according to her. And so therefore, it looks like it was just an unfortunate accident.
Now, just last week, mother was given a home for free for 1 year. She told our team at the time it's something that she's forever grateful for. Of course, a lot of still developments to come in this situation. But for now, Terrence, we're live in front of the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office. Terrell Bailey, CBS News, Detroit.
Okay, so hold on.
Yes, still so many questions. We will keep following this story. Thank you.
All right, so let's get a look at these babies. So she got a new house. She gets to keep it for a year. Lots of questions. And they're talking about turning over the findings to the district attorney's office. So will there possibly be charges against this woman? Imagine getting a new house with your mom and your siblings and your one child left behind that survived to only be charged. Child neglect, child abuse. See, she's got a new hairdo, got her a wig. Somebody said something to me about another YouTuber, Mr. Chris Thorns. Please check out his content. That she has been on social media dropping it like it's hot. Don't know if it's older content from her social media page or not, but let's just say it's recent. Oh, sorry about that. Just imagine if it's recent. That's not good, okay? That's not good at all. Sorry about that, everybody. That's not good at all. If indeed she's been out partying, shaking a tail feather.
The opportunity to explore a career in law enforcement. Josie Carbonari shows us how students are getting.
God, these devices are horrible. If indeed it's true, she's been out dropping hot partying. Most people were like, damn, your kids ain't been dead in a month. You already ready to hit the street, start partying, got your new house. Now you got somewhere you can leave your last child with your mama. Okay, I can hit the streets now, got a place to sleep, stay woke. So I don't know if this information I got from Mr. Thorns, the verification of her being on social media recently, if that information is true. So if anybody want to verify it, feel free to run it by the Queen. You can post under this video to say, yes, Queen, I've seen the video of her on social media, IG or Facebook, and it is recent. Just let me know. Here are the two children who are no longer alive. Okay? It was a 2-year-old girl, 9-year-old boy. It's all baffling to me. Nice looking children. Father spoke out on the news. He didn't seem very thrilled. Naturally, his children were dead. He seemed to be very angry towards her. She didn't tell the truth about her situation, blah, blah, blah. So you don't know what's what. I always say there's always more to the story. And I believe there's more to this story pertaining to this young lady and her mother and all these children living in a van. Because what people are going to question is the obvious. Why are 2 able-bodied adults sleeping in a van with kids? What happened to the apartment they had? Not paying the rent? Not keeping lights on, gas on? What? Did they get any type of assistance? Did they live in an apartment that went by their income, through HUD? Have they been on HUD? Were they ever on a voucher? Did they lose a voucher? So you got to ask all those questions because they didn't just get here by accident, this situation. And my thing is, whoever is supplying this house, you're going to have to use deduction as well. If they were in this situation, they could be in the situation again. The fact that she was paying people to stay with them, paying motels. See, all that don't add up. Okay, I can see the people that want you staying in their house because you all had a lot of people. But a motel will take your money. A person who runs or whomever, they will take your money. They don't care who you are. They want your money. So why you all couldn't pay for a motel? Or you only had a certain amount of money and you couldn't afford renting a hotel weekly. Naturally, if you pay by the week, it's cheaper. Possibly by the week, by the month would be much cheaper than paying day for day. That's common sense. Common sense. So did she draw disability checks for herself? Did the mother draw disability checks? Did they draw checks for their children? If so, how much money did they get per person and for each child, or one of the children, two of the children? See, we don't know. You have to ask all those questions in order to make this story make some type of sense, because it don't make no sense. You know why it doesn't make any sense? Because you don't have all the information. So you ask these questions, ask not to be looking at this story again a year from now. That's my point. We're talking about 2 dead kids. We're talking about other people in the van. You got to ask yourself why they are dead. Why these babies are dead and why everybody else is alive. That's all I'm saying. So you hear this toxicologist talking about carbon monoxide at the back of the van. I had information from a nurse. I was playing that content earlier and I can't find it for some reason, where a lady was speaking about carbon monoxide poisoning and how it can, it settles at the floor. So if the children were lying down on the floor, they would succumb to, the CM poisoning. Okay. But then you got to use deduction. We don't even know how they were all spread out in the van. So I don't know. I just know 7 people. I'm thinking a mom would be in the front seat. Grandma, she would be in the passenger seat. So then if the second row, you could fit 3 people on that. There's your 5. And then your second row, your third row seating, you could put 2 on that seat. 2 on either one. So were the 2-year-old and the 9-year-old sleeping together or side by side? Or were they sleeping on the floor? Or did the back seat lie down? Were they on the last row seat, third row seat, and carbon monoxide built up, let's say, at the back of the van? See, we don't even know where it was. Second row or third row? I don't know. But all that's relevant when it comes to carbon monoxide poisoning. Hold on one second, everybody. There we go. I was looking for my history. For some reason, I couldn't find it on that computer. It would not show me what I've watched. Hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find this. I want you all to hear this information from this nurse. That's what I'm curious about. Her mother has not been charged. Will she be charged? Whoops, sorry about that, everybody. Linked off there. Trying to find this information. Having a hard time finding it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Vault Excel. I was looking for something. So the children's cause of death is carbon monoxide poisoning, not exposure to the cold. February 10th, she parked the car in the garage. Morning of February 10th, she found the kids unresponsive. Okay, I found it. I found what I was looking for. Hold on. One second, everybody.
Pronounced dead. Initially, police thought they died of hypothermia. The autopsy began the next day, and today the results are finally released. The medical examiner confirmed the official cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning, and it was an accident. Tonight, we're learning more about how carbon monoxide affects people differently. Jacqueline Francis is live after speaking with an expert on the topic. Jacqueline.
We're here in the local 4 parking garage, and even though it's a big space, the carbon monoxide that can come from an exhaust can be deadly. And the amount that's toxic to me as an adult is different than what it would be for a child. They call it the silent killer, carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas that is a byproduct of combustion.
Unfortunately, it's not surprising. In Detroit being a northern city, we get a lot of carbon monoxide cases.
Amy Nefsey is an ER doctor and toxicologist. She says colder weather means more heat sources and therefore more carbon monoxide. In the case of the 2 young children poisoned while living out of their van in a Greektown parking garage, she said the carbon monoxide source could have been one of a few things.
There's an internal leak where it's not all being pumped outside of the cab and it collects inside the cab of the van. Then that could be one way.
If not a leak, she says carbon monoxide could have filtered in from the exhaust through an open window.
Once it gets inside the van, it settles to the bottom because it's heavier than normal air, and it layers down on the bottom of the van, and it doesn't circulate out because all the windows are up higher than where the carbon monoxide is sitting. And I'm sure the children were sleeping on the floor.
She says the colder temperatures may have made things worse.
If they did have a little bit of hypothermia, you're not going to respond as well to, not being able to breathe. So it was like a triple whammy. They were sleeping, it was cold, and there was carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide monitors can be used in your house and even your car. If you're exposed to the toxic gas, some of the symptoms and confusion. If you think this is happening to you, you should call 911 right away. Reporting live in Detroit, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
It's so heartbreaking for those kids. Jacqueline, thank you. And while these carbon monoxide deaths happen in a vehicle, it happens way more often in homes and apartments. Go to clickondetroit.com for a detailed list of finally been revealed. The Wayne County prosecutor.
Okay, so let's get down to business, and then I'm going to check on out of here. 3-part live, everybody. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this live stream to get the information on the Kansas City deaths, 2 arrests. Kelli Bryant went to court earlier this week to discuss bond, pretrial release, information brought out by district attorney, complaints from the defense attorney. I believe tomorrow it will be a discussion pertaining to a bond, a reduction in bond. I'll bring you that update. And then the third topic is this topic here, 2 children dying inside of a van in Detroit in a parking garage at a casino. So far now, it's not been ruled that the children froze to death, but carbon monoxide poisoning. So you hear toxicologists and doctors about settling of carbon monoxide. So you have to use deduction. Obviously, the van was running. So one is going to say, then what happened? Why didn't the other people die from the poisoning? If they're all in the van, they're all in there sleeping, why did they survive the other people? Where were the 2 children in relation to the other people? So I'm just going to assume this is 3rd row seating, perhaps. See, I don't know. I'm just guesstimating. 3rd row seating. Mom and grandma in the front seat. Children on the 2nd seat, children on the 3rd row. Don't know if it was all flattened out all the seats laid down and they all laid on one. I don't know, because we're not getting any information on where each child was found. See, we're just going to assume the two were together. 2-year-old and a 9-year-old were together. Third row, second row, what? See, I don't even know how many rows the car, van had. I'm just assuming it had 3 rows. Could it have just 2 rows? Could just been mom, front seat, passenger seat, and then 1 row. That'd been a tight fit though with 7 people. Just 1 row of seating in a van. So did it have 2 extra rows in the van? Let me ask that. How many rows of seats did the van have? Your 2 seats in the front, a row of seating behind that, and then another row. Is this a matter of 3 separate seating arrangements in the van, or it only had 2 seats in the front and just 1 seat in the back, and then cargo area behind second row seating? I don't know. I hate stories like this when they don't give you the information, you know, so you can get a visual what the van looked like, how the van was laid out, if the seats were down, the children were sleeping in the floor. See, I don't know. We just got these toxicology people talking about kids on the floor and, you know, toxicology lying on, you know, the carbon monoxide settling on the floor. So we don't even know where the kids were sleeping. Upright, by the window. See, I don't know. All I know is other people are alive. That's my damn problem. Other people lived. They didn't. That's the issue for me. And the fact that now she has a house, she's been in this position of being homeless before. She could easily be back in this situation again if her mind ain't right to better herself and her circumstances. You see, because somebody giving you a house or apartment doesn't mean anything if your mind is still the same as it was before you got it. So you can give somebody a whole house, you can give somebody a whole car. That does not change the mindset. See, we don't know this lady. We don't know anything about her mother. We don't know what the hell they were doing, how they were living with these children, other CPS reports. So you got to ask all those questions, because we might be right back here again in the next 6 months or less, unless we know who this woman is and her situation, how she became homeless in the first place. And 2 able-bodied adults, people are going to have a problem with that. You see it all the time, though. People walking around here homeless, a man and a woman, a boyfriend and girlfriend, and the first thing you're looking like, how are both of you homeless? There's no excuse for 2 grown people homeless together. It doesn't make sense. It won't make sense to you. You're going to have to prove that you got 2 mentally disabled individuals neck to neck, hip to hip. Okay? And then when you're talking about having children, people are really going to judge you. Like, okay, well, you 2 ought to be able to go out and get a job, do something, secure a place to stay. And we know right now the housing market is very dire in most United States. So why did these people not have a place to live? We heard they had an apartment on the east side of Detroit. Okay, what happened? How long were they there? Were they keeping their bills up? Were they paying? Does anybody have a substance abuse issue, drug abuse issue? And is there some truth to this rumor this lady's been on social media shaking her tail feather? As I said, I don't know if it's true or not. As I said, another YouTuber, somebody in his chat brought up the conversation. If anybody knows to be true, she's been out here shaking her ass, feel free to comment under this video. It's really all I have to do is pull up her name and just go find her social media page, unless she has it on private. I don't know what to say about this case. I don't know if there are going to be any charges against she and her mother. But what we need to know is, did they park that van in there and went to sleep? Or were they out of the van gambling and left that truck running for so long and then came back? Because that'll be fucked up if we find out they were in that place gambling, came back to the van, and then went to sleep, and the kids were already dead. If they had left and came back. See, we don't know, and we haven't heard any information that they left either. I would assume the hotel would have given security footage to the police, and the police would have given that information to the district attorney, and the district attorney would have gladly shared that with the public, that they were outside of the vehicle gambling. And so far, it's been, a couple weeks now, I have not heard that they were gambling. But people are going to assume that just because it's at a casino garage. But as I told somebody, maybe she felt safe parking there because there would be a lot of cars parked and people coming and going. And, maybe she felt that was a safer place to, park instead of like on the street or off the street in Detroit. Everybody knows Detroit is a very rough city, a lot of crime. She may not have felt safe just parking her van in like, a Walmart or Costco parking lot, worrying about, vandals, people coming along, breaking out the car windows or something. She probably felt safer in the casino garage. I'm not sure. I don't know her. I just threw that out there. But so far, no information has been relayed that she and the mom were in there gambling or she was gambling. But where there's a problem is the obvious. These two are dead and the others are alive. So what happened? How's it that they're alive and these two precious babies are gone? Beautiful children, no longer alive. Where were they positioned in the van? How long were the children dead? See, that's another thing. We have not heard that yet from the autopsy. Will they tell us how long the children were dead? Because all that's going to matter. I think we're talking about at least a 12-hour window from the time she allegedly parked until she discovered the kids dead. And it was one after the other. Friend picking her up, taking her to get help. Then she makes it back to the car and here another one's dead. So allegedly was one dead, took him to the hospital. Then she gets the call, I think, from the mom or whomever. Oh, you got to come back. There's another dead kid. So it's a very weird, creepy tale of almost like hopscotch. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, one kid's dead. Okay, you're at the hospital. Oh, get a call. Oh, got to come back. Bring your friend, come back, pick up the other dead kid. It's very weird story. That's my commentary. The two children found deceased, the pictures you see on the screen, they did not die from freezing. Allegedly, they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. When I get an update pertaining to the autopsies, I will bring you that update. Kelli Bryant, Black female, arrested for 3 counts of first-degree child abuse of her 3 children left behind in a Pontiac, Michigan condo. So far, no bond, $250 million. I'm sure she wants out of there. I believe they're going to go to court tomorrow and discuss bond and pretrial release. Hopefully, the district attorney will stick to their guns and say, no, she does not need to be released. She doesn't have any viable income, a viable lifestyle. No, she needs to stay in jail until trial. Her lawyer is talking about information not given to her, gag orders, district attorney talking about things and releasing things to the public. But the judge, Michigan law says district attorney can give out personal information pertaining to a case. And I guess the judge feels as though the district attorney has done her job with press conference information. And I haven't heard of any other press conferences done by the district attorney. So I don't know what this defense attorney is talking about. And she also was crying and moaning about some body camera footage being released on the internet by an officer. I don't know why an officer would do that, knowing that would be wrong. And I haven't heard or seen any video footage of any body camera footage of anybody going into the house. So I don't know what this lady's talking about. And then we have Kansas City. 3 friends died from an alleged overdose of drugs. They had different drugs in their system. And 2 men have been arrested. Their friend and another black male have been arrested in their murders, distribution, and involuntary manslaughter ×3. I'm assuming they are going to be doing a lot of finger pointing at one another. Hey, I didn't do it. Yeah, I gave him the drugs, but I didn't know it was hardcore drugs. I sold him the drugs. Not my fault. Then the white guy, he's going to say the same thing. Well, they're my friends. I love them, and I would never wish death on them. I didn't know the drugs were tainted. But we have a lot of states that have strict laws pertaining to drug usage and selling of drugs, that it doesn't matter if you knew the drugs were tainted. The point is, once you distribute it, pass it along, you are liable for a death if a death occurs. So Tennessee also has that law. If I give you some drugs, I don't have to know what's in it. The fact that I gave it to you, you die, I'm charged with murder. So it don't matter if I was a drug dealer or not. Don't matter how I got the drugs. If I found it on the ground, I bought it from the dope man. The point is, I had possession of it and I handed it to you. Tennessee law. And I'm sure there are other states that also have this law that once you give the drug to someone, you give it, you sell it, you will go down for murder if indeed that person dies. That's the latest information, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend. Please check out my community board for said updates and my movie of the week. I've got a real juicy one I'm going to go ahead and share for this weekend because it's a doozy. It's called Bloodline, and I'm going to share it for this weekend's movie. It's free on the Freevee app. It is a doozy. It's for my horror fans. Those of you who like horrors and mysteries, I want you to please check out this movie. I believe it came out around 2019, but it's a very good movie. I mean, it had me going. It's a diabolical movie. It's to me a more updated version of Dexter, but it's a very good movie, and I will share it to the community page here shortly. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeAngie129 Cash App, stickers and chats, and welcome to the live stream. Thank you all for your time. God bless. I love you. Please be safe. Stay warm. Wherever you are, naturally, this weather is iffy, up and down. It's how the queen ended up getting sick. Nursing this bad boy, whatever it is, since Friday night. So I'm praying that it goes away, whatever it is. Anywho, it's going to be back warm next week here in Tennessee. So that shows you how crazy the weather is. And I'm sure there'll be some more people coughing and hacking next week when it reaches 70-some degrees. But anyway, stay warm. And if the weather rises in your area, know to still dress accordingly because you don't want to get ill, catch pneumonia. There are a lot of viruses running around, colds, flu, also upper respiratory viruses. So you want to be careful. Be safe, everybody. You've been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.